Now, a couple of Kickstarters to talk about this week. Just a couple. First one is called Way of the Fighter, and this is from Ninja Division, who have brought us a few things like the Ninja All-Stars game, as basically a bunch of miniatures type games. And this one is not that. It's a card game, fighting game based on old school fighting video games. If you're familiar with BattleCon, it does look a lot like that, and it seems to play pretty similarly to that, with a couple big differences that I noticed and picked up on and found interesting. Number one, there's a lot of dice in this. It's almost like a BattleCon meets Dice Masters, and you have different dice pools, and you're rolling them on your turn to determine initiative and how your attacks work and things like that. There's definitely, it seems a little more involved in terms of what you're actually doing on your turn, the moving and the playing. And the other thing I really thought was cool is this has the possibility for combos in it. So you could actually, if you roll dice, and it's almost like maybe a press your luck thing, and you roll the right numbers, you can play multiple cards in a row to do powerful combos, but that in turn will give your opponent more dice on their turn, which helps them, so that's a back and forth. And then the other really big thing is there's multiple fighters, but unlike in BattleCon where it's strictly a set deck for each fighter, you can actually mix and match from different decks and customize your own characters.
Yeah, and that was one thing I thought was really cool, and this is why when I first saw, I'm like, oh, I think this is something Jonathan should take a look, since you actually owned and played a lot of BattleCon. Is BattleCon usually has like 4 or 5 cards for the certain character, then you have the basic cards. All basic cards are the same, and you always just put those two together and fight.
Right.
In this, each character does have its signature moves, that's a classic fighting game. But then they also have a fighting style, like usually I think it's like chi,
wrestle,
so on and so forth. And they come with a couple cards from that, some cards from that set, but they don't come with all the ones from that. So maybe the character, like you see the main guy, might have certain cards for chi, and the guy from the other set has different cards for chi, which makes this a lot more like, almost reminds me of Phoenix Born. Ashes, Rise of the Phoenix Born, where like you can actually take I like his nature card, so I'm going to throw that in here.
Right.
And I think that really adds a bit more of like, it's not just, and I mean, like BattleCon, when you think like, oh, I'm just playing the teleporter, so I'm going to counter you with this one. Like, it's a lot more like, he's playing that one, but he could be going with this kind of build. Like, so there's a lot more variety. It reminds me more of the later fighter games. Like, I think Capcom vs. Marvel 3 is when I last saw it. But like, when it's not just I chose Dante had like 6 different fighting styles. So there was a bit of a switch to what moves I was going to use.
Yeah, I liked it also because it's not just like, a regular Magic or anything like that, where it's like literally, you can put your cards, it's like it's a set that you're switching out. So it feels a little more...
You're restricted in a good way.
Yeah, it makes the limitations
you can't throw every best fighting move in there,
Right.
which makes sense. Like, he's mastered the chi style, that like he knows how to move chi, but doesn't mean he can do a suplex on a guy.
Right. So it definitely looks very, very cool. There's 2 different sets you can buy that are both standalone, but they can be mixed and matched, and they each come with, I think, 5 or 6 fighters each. 5
fighters each. I know because the pictures
there's
are
5
for one,
people.
and there's 5 on that. And it's the Super Edition and the Turbo Edition.
That's right. Super and Turbo. Very
Yes, I believe
subtle.
they're $40 each.
$40 each.
Yeah, so definitely a cool thing if you like that kind of fighting game style. Check it out. You also forgot to mention there actually are miniatures you can buy separately.
Oh, that's true. You're right.
But most of them are the pogs, which is nice because I know this is a miniatures company, so if you like that kind of stuff, you can get them.
And people do.
Yep. So definitely check it out.
Check that out. Now I have a question for you. Package?
I don't know if that's a question. I mean, you're saying the name with a question mark, or you're just asking. But yes, this game is called Package, and in essence what it is, it's you're all trying to deliver all your packages to specific houses. Certain houses are worth more points than others, so when you're going to be pretty much deciding how you move to each house, and depending on how you move, you can actually do things like move other people's packages left or right. It's a very simple, small game. It's only £10, which I think translates...
It's about $12 USD.
That's what it was. So I thought it was a fun little, like a fun, simple game to bring around, and but yet still had a lot of that. What we'd like it from a small thing is just like, even though it's small and simple, still have some strategy and thinking of like, well, if I go there, I can do this and get more points.
And it had like an interesting box design. I don't know if I think that was, there was one for I don't, was
There's
that
a
like
nice
a higher
wooden one,
tier?
yeah. But
like,
then there's also one that just looks like a paper.
right. Yeah. So yeah, it's a good little. I think it sounded like fun.
Yeah, it's a simple abstract game that stood out to me, and I really like the idea behind it.
It's always nice when there's a Kickstarter game like that, when it's like $15 or less, and you don't have to feel guilty at all like for backing it. You're just like, it's like just a little thing you can just throw on and back. Package. Check.
You love saying that.
It's really. I think more games should have punctuation in them, like Panic at the Disco.
Be very careful, because then we're gonna end up with a bunch of games that's just like 4 exclamation marks, 2 questions, and like.
I want a semicolon in a game title.